Welcome to Just Cook Something. In this video we're going to make bread using a Dutch oven. Let's get started. So the first thing we're going to be adding is activated dry yeast, and we're going to add 1 teaspoon into the bowl. The next thing we're going to add is 2 teaspoons of sugar. I'm using granulated sugar, along with 1 teaspoon of kosher salt. We're then going to add 1.5 cups of warm water. The water should be around 108 to 115 degrees Fahrenheit, and we're just going to stir it for about a minute. We'll just let it sit for around 5 to 10 minutes, and you'll see the yeast actually starting to grow. So once it starts to grow around the 5-minute mark, you can start mixing again for another minute. Alright, the next thing we're going to add is our flour. Now I'm using hard wheat flour. You can just use regular all-purpose flour. It really doesn't matter. I haven't noticed too much of a difference between the two, but you're going to add 3 cups of the flour, and we're going to mix it until majority of the flour is gone. So the way I like to fold it is kind of like fold it inwards. So I'm pushing everything into the middle and just kind of scraping the edges of the bowl. And as you keep doing that for about a minute, you'll see it'll start to get a bit more wet and sticky. And from there, we're going to add a saran wrap and then put a cloth right over the bowl, and we're going to leave it for an hour. And after an hour, we're going to remove the cloth and the saran wrap, and you're going to see that the yeast has actually grown quite a bit. So from there, we're just going to start mixing again. And we're just going to poke these holes here to let the air out, and then start folding it inwards again like we did previously. And do that again for about a minute. There really is no special technique around this. It's more just mix it nicely, fold it all in, and then after about a minute mixing, you're going to put the saran wrap back onto the bowl and cover it again with a cloth, and you're going to let it rest for about an hour. Alright, so in total now it's been 2 hours, so we're going to remove the cloth and saran wrap, and we're going to do the same thing again by folding in the dough. So we're going to just scrape the edges and just try to fold it inwards, and we're going to continue that for another minute and just make sure everything is getting mixed in nicely. And next we're going to get our cutting board. So we're going to put some flour on the board just so it doesn't stick, and just rub it on there nicely, and we're just going to shape it into a nice round ball. You got to get some flour on your hands and just also sprinkle some on top of the dough itself. And then from there, we're just going to flip it over and just kind of push in the bottom portions of the dough and just make a circle motion, and that's going to make a nice round ball. If your hands get a little sticky, you can add some more flour to your hands. And then from there, we're going to put the dough back into the bowl, but with some parchment paper. And then we're going to sprinkle on top of the dough some more flour and just rub it across. This will just give it a nice look once you bake the bread. But the idea is to add that little bit of flour on top, and then we're going to cut in between and just make a little cross. You can add your own designs. I'm just using a basic knife, and then that will open up the bread nicely when we bake it. So now that that's done, we're just going to throw a cloth on top of the bowl, leave it aside, and then we're going to get our oven preheated at 450 degrees Fahrenheit. We're also going to throw in our Dutch oven. This is just a basic 7-quart Dutch oven. We're just going to throw it in there. Well, not literally. We're going to place it in there carefully and then let it preheat at 450 degrees Fahrenheit. Once it's fully hot and ready, we're just going to carefully take out the lid, and then we're going to put our dough inside the Dutch oven, and then we're going to close the lid, and then we're going to bake it at 450 degrees Fahrenheit for 35 minutes exactly. So after 35 minutes, and when we take out the lid, you're going to see an amazing hot steamy piece of bread, and it only takes a few steps to do this. We're not done yet though. We have to take out the parchment paper, and then with the lid off, we're going to put it back into the oven, and we're going to bake it for an additional 5 minutes. This part is optional. It really depends how crispy you want your bread. But once it's done, this is what it looks like. You might want to cut it right away, but you should wait at least 10 minutes. But once you do cut it, make sure you gather the family around the house, because the sound of that first cut is, well, take a look. Thanks for watching this video on how to make artisan bread in a Dutch oven. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more videos like this, and leave a comment below. Take care.